coming out. Okay. So as a quick reminder, this is the Sausage Force Club weekly update. Every week I talk about what I did, what I got stuck on, what I learned, that kind of stuff. And this week has been pretty slow for a couple reasons. One of which is July is, there's a game jam going on in July where a group of friends I know through Twitter and a bunch of people I don't know through Twitter are making a game that fits the clicker genre, which often is like managing inventory and like managing systems, and I don't really play that type of game, so I thought it'd be interesting to do this game jam. So I've been playing it out for a few months, and I started making a game and I got really into it right away. And so this week I dumped a bunch of time to that. I started a bit early, and then the other reason is I'm at a point in the project where I'm trying to like wrap things up, so that I can ship the game, and that requires a lot of planning and thinking about what to cut and what's going to make it in the game and how to structure like the last bits of systems and stuff that I need. So I spent some time this week thinking about what I need to do and what kind of workflow changes I need to like finish production in a quick way and in a way that is fun and not painful for me to do, because the more fun my process is, the more I'll get done, the faster I'll get done, and the more I'll be encouraged to experiment and like try different things out within that workflow. If it's like pulling teeth to get every little thing done, then it's going to take a really long time, and I'm not going to want to experiment. I'm just going to want to get it done and get out, and then I won't iterate on it at all. So getting into specifics, let's go into some of the stuff I did this week. Last week on stream, I worked on the Anteater model, a new character of an Anteater, and I've finished that character. It's in the game. I guess first I will show you. First I'll show you the character in the game. They're called Sniff. You can see in my prefs window here I have a bunch of settings and stuff I can change about the game. Welcome, Tim. Just seeing you in chat now. Yes, we can try out Sniff. Give him a top hat, that's fine. Don't really care about adventure mode. Yeah, so I finished this character from what you saw last week. I'll go a little bit into what that entailed, but not too deep. Basically, I finished the model, and then I rigged it, skinned it, did the UVs, made a texture, a lot of which was based on my previous work on other characters. Similar to how when I was modeling, I just ripped the head off of a horse, and that was like the start of my Anteater mesh. I did the same for the rig, where I just used the horse rig, and I copied the skin weights that the rig uses from the horse to the Anteater, so that was like a pretty good start for rigging. This computer's pretty old, so that's why it's taken a long time to start up. And Unity also takes a long time to start up, specifically on the first run. Nice, so we've got Sniff. It's all good. Works just like everybody else. Let me zoom in the camera a little bit. Gotta turn on my camera zones box so I can change the settings of it. Oh, fun, this is a spline. So I gotta do even more. Okay. Yeah, so I got our bud. I can maximize too. See, it works. I'm pretty happy with how he turned out. I think just like the texture detail makes it, and the tongue sticking out makes it pretty obvious that he's an Anteater. I was worried that I was gonna need to put a bunch of cards along the tail to like give it the like wiriness that a real Anteater has, but I think it's readable like this. So that's him. To 2/3 of the region. Oh no, what's up with that? Set base resolution. Yes. Okay. No, Tim, it's not. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. Okay. That's a little bit weird. I'm not sure why Twitch wouldn't like automatically stretch this or whatever, but that looks like it should be fixed. Let me know if it's not. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, let's look at the model of that Anteater, and I can illustrate what do we want. Game, 3D, characters, Anteater. Okay. This is the overworld like layout mesh. I was starting to think about what the desert would look like, but I haven't really made any significant progress on it. Just thinking about like arches and like hard edge, like hard surface normals, similar to like the Witness or that Dragon Cancer, and like how much of that I want to do, and how far I can go, and still be in the same art style, basically. Okay, so this is where the Anteater ended up. Not crazy amount of polygons. Pretty, I think, similar to everything else, or all the more recent characters. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting to look at. I guess an interesting thing is the inside of the mouth is all like modeled out. So I could potentially like do blend shapes and stuff to like open the mouth or like make him smile or whatever. Rig. Another interesting thing, I don't rig the faces of the characters in the game generally, because for a couple of reasons. One is the way the like player, or sorry, the way the animation system works in Unity is kind of interferes with physics. If I'm rigging, if I animate on any bone, then every child bone to that bone is overridden by the animation. If that makes sense. Like if I'm animating this bone, every bone after that, I forget. I can't remember if it's after that or before that, but if I were to animate the head bone, yeah, it's every bone before that gets overridden. So if I like rigged up a cool face and did a bunch of cool facial animation, every bone in the neck would like be affected in the Unity side of that animation. So all the physics stuff that I'm doing, where the neck like bends according to physics, would get overridden by the animation system every frame. And I ran into that pretty early on in the game, and just kind of like made a rule of I'm not going to animate characters' faces like in that way with a rig. And so that's probably been good for scope. Something I am interested in doing in the adventure mode is using blend shapes to like add little emotes to their faces, or they might smile or like make a sad face, and then do like a particle showing like a heart or a tear or like an angry cloud or whatever. So then like that like emote particle would like get across the emotion that maybe the blend shape wouldn't be enough to get across. So that's something I'm thinking about. can show you the animation too. Pan through it. All the animations are really simple. It's all like I mentioned. It's all on the bottom of the body, um, and then the physics kind of does a lot of the work of making the characters seem lifelike and interesting. Yeah. Show you the texture too, but I'm not gonna do that in Maya. There we go. Look at that. This was fun. The tongue takes up way more of the texture than is necessary. Don't have anything interesting to say about that. What else can I talk about Sniff? I think that's all I'll talk about that guy. Let's see what else we did this week. Yeah, so I mentioned a lot of the other stuff I did this week was like planning out what the rest of the schedule is going to be like and what do I have time for and thinking about workflow stuff. One really big aspect of the game that's still left to do is a lot of the adventure mode, which is like the single player / co-op thing where you and potentially your co-op friends like run around this overworld space and talk to like characters in the game, and they have like defined personalities and stuff, and you interact with them, and they have relationships with the other characters in the game, and you basically go on quests where you like learn more about the characters by them entering conflicts with each other, and you resolve their conflicts by doing a sports match. That system could be really simple and dumb, but I'm trying to make it more interesting, such that you can have like a little bit more complex interactions than just talking and entering a match. Like an example might be a character says, let's go find other character, and then they'll start following you around, and you have to go find another character somewhere in the world, and then talk to them, or they could say, I really like this place in the overworld, can we go there? And then they'll follow you there. Or maybe they'll say, meet me here, and then they'll run off, and you could run at the same pace as them or whatever. And that kind of thing will just make the world feel more alive, and like the characters are more real, and like you're like going on an adventure with them instead of just like doing like having like super scripted dialogue. The other thing I think is cool about the overworld and adventure mode in general is that if I make the system dynamic in that way, and I make enough quests, and I make the adventure mode short enough, then it can become replayable by randomly picking quests from this big pool of quests, and then let's say the game is 2 or 3 hours long or something like that, and during the course of a game you only get 20 quests, and they're randomly pulled from the quest list. If there's like 30 or 40 quests, not saying there will be, but if there are more quests to draw from than there are quests in adventure mode, then playing it again makes it interesting again the second time because you're seeing new stuff, and you can change the order, and if the system's dynamic enough, you can place the quests in different areas of the map, so it kind of like changes the dynamic, and like the context in which you enter a quest might change like what you think of the quest, or like what the adventure is like. So it's worthwhile to play more than once. It's worthwhile to play again with a friend who might not have played the game, and I'm sure you can tell listening to this it sounds kind of complicated and annoying to implement. So that's I've been thinking about how to do this. I so far I have the quest system implemented in a way that's workable to finish the game, but like I talked about earlier, it's kind of like not super user friendly, and there are some I wouldn't say issues because it's like functional. There's no bugs with it. It's just like the workflow isn't ideal in some ways. Um, okay, so this is the quest system. I'm actually gonna pop this out and full screen it so you can see all of it at once. Okay. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, so there's some workflow issues and like things I need to work out before I can really like just make a ton of quests. Um, follow node. One thing that's really so far is really bad about this system is that passing in new information to the system is really like annoying to do and like requires writing not a lot of new code, but just like writing new code when I would rather just like on my quest. I would like if I have some custom quest that is specific and needs some new functionality or whatever. What I'd really like to be able to do is derive from story quest, add a new field to it, um, like add new variables in the inspector, change those, and then immediately be able to access them in the quest editor. In like, I would like right click, add a new thing, and there would be like a drop down with like all of the available properties, like data that I have on my object, and then I would just be able to start using it, which makes it like way more robust and a little bit closer to Blueprint, even though I don't have like all the functions available. That would be interesting, but definitely not necessary. Um, what I'm trying to do. So that's something I'm thinking about. I'm also trying to figure out like an easy way to do that programmatically with these nodes, where like off the left side there would be like some input like node that I could like let's say this thing I'm creating here. Oh man, what's going on? That was weird. Maybe it's busted. It's hard to tell. Am I broken something? Making sure that doesn't happen would be good for workflow too. Yeah, but making having like input nodes where I can say I know I want dialogue to be input to this thing. I know I want to have that type of data. Like let me hook that type of input node into this. Like that's not something I have, and not something the node system as it exists supports yet. So I'm trying to figure out like the easiest way to do that. So that's a weird problem. That's kind of all I worked on this week is those things, and some emails and team and some contractor stuff that ate up a bunch of my time, but nothing really worth talking about there. So that's all that. I'm down to answer questions if there are any questions. But other than that, it's going to be a short one for sure. Also seem to have lost the chat. There we go. Highest def tongues in the industry, yeah. It's actually like a pretty... that tongue is pretty low res, and the character in general is pretty low res. I think I just use 1024s. I don't want to worry about texture budget. And the characters are pretty small on screen anyway, so it's just not something I worry about. I feel like I don't want this show, this weekly thing, to be like me talking about what I'm gonna do in the next week, because if I change my mind or um, don't like finish the thing I said I was gonna finish, that's gonna like make me feel bad and put like a record of things that weren't for sure gonna be in the game on the internet. So I don't really want to do that. So that's not gonna be what this is. Um, yeah, I could talk about the clicker. That would be cool, since I spent a bunch of time on that. I don't actually want to save that. Do. I'm gonna call it, yeah, that's end of the sausage update here. If anybody pops in with questions, I can come back to it, but otherwise I'll just